from Powell River, I think that sort of prepared me of being isolated. And that's a great analogy, is that I was prepared to be isolated for a long time based on what I brought. I'm Jennifer Salisbury from Powell River, British Columbia. I was born in Maryland, and 3 years old, family got transferred out to New Mexico. So I grew up in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and then went back to Maryland to attend the U.S. Naval Academy. My sister also went to the U.S. Naval Academy, and we both ended up on ships and sailed the world, which was interesting, very fun, and unique, especially when 9/11 and the USS Cole, that was all happening when we were in there. And in that time, I became a nuclear engineer, and when I stopped running the reactors on the USS Enterprise, I decided I wanted to go back to where my mother was working, at the time was Maui, Hawaii. And that's where I was living and working as a business developer when I met my husband. I didn't know that we were going to end up here. We were making a life in Maui, Hawaii, which is where I was currently living. When Michael and I arrived 5 years ago, let me back up. 6 months before that, when he and I were just dating, was the very first time I came into Canada. That was the summer of 2006, summer 2006, the first time I ever came to Canada. I was amazed at the culture, how friendly everyone was, because I, at that time, lived inside that American box, where everything is surrounded by U.S. people, U.S. stuff, U.S. ignorance, I can say. And so when I came to Canada, it was no longer this country that is just sort of there. It actually embodied everything that I was looking for. And actually, I would prefer to live in Canada, as I do now, than in the States, which is a different spin. That's not why I came to Canada. We came to Canada to visit family. That's to visit Michael's family. And when we ended up staying, it ended up being this fun culture with all these tweaks that Canadians have that Americans don't have, that are just simple, fun perks. Like simple things, like the red flag on the mailbox. In the States, that means that there's outgoing mail ready to be picked up. But here, it means the mail has been delivered and it's time for you to come get it, and you put the flag down. So it means something different. The traffic signals work a little bit differently here. The flashing green lights, you hardly ever see a flashing green light traffic signal in the States. And I could name lots others. Quite a bit of culture shock when I got here to Canada. I was learning more about how to live in a small town, on how to figure out where to get things. I remember the first time Michael drove me down Marine Avenue. He goes, "This is it." And I went, "This is what?" Like, this is great, all these boutique shops, and there was the restaurants and all that. And then he circled up Alberni and went back past the mall. And I went, he goes, "Okay, this is the rest of it. Here's the A&W, here's this." And like, where's the skyscrapers? Where's the stuff that I'm normally used to seeing? Where's the great big universities? Where is the culture centers that I'm used to in these great big metropolis areas that they just didn't have? But I realized that Powell River has all that too. It's just not as obvious. It's every bit as rich in culture and heritage. And we're at Marine Traders in Powell River, BC, and this is my gorgeous elk that my lovely husband Michael called in for me. I shot it at a distance of about 20 feet, and yeah, it's gorgeous. Gorgeous 6x7 elk. What can you say? He was tasty.
All gone now?
All gone for a while, and boy, he was really, really good. This is where we bought the license, the hunting license, and the tag for the elk. And when we actually had the head mounted, we didn't have room for him in our house, and so knowing the high ceilings here, we had come back down to Marine Traders and said, "Would you mind if we put the elk here just for safekeeping while we make room in the new house?" And so they've been gracious to do that for us. Shooting this elk was the first time I shot and killed an animal, yes. I was at Christina Lake, BC, in summer of 2010, and we were doing our normal summer hiatus. All the Salisburys kind of go there for a vacation for a week in August, and ran across a casting call link on the Discovery Channel website, and sort of they said, we're doing the final casting for the show called Canada's Greatest Know-It-All. If you think you're a know-it-all, click here. Okay, so everyone's sitting around. We all have our little toys, our iPhones, and our laptops, and I kind of elbowed my stepdaughter, little Jen, and said, hey, am I a know-it-all? And everyone went, yes. And I went, okay. So I emailed, and I said, here's my credentials. What do you think? I mean, I have no idea what you're looking for. And what ended up happening is they replied back, and we ended up doing this huge application for the show together. The whole family had a part in it, because it ended up being a roast on me of, yes, you're really good at this and you're really good at that, but you're horrible at this and that. And it ended up being a really fun thing, especially when you're kind of on vacation letting your mind go. And it just ended up being dripping in sarcasm, a lot of fun application, really fun doing this whole application, and sent it in. Didn't hear a thing again until April of 2011. So 8 months later, 8 months went by, didn't hear anything, just sort of went, oh, whatever, that was a fun thing for a family reunion, and just sort of let it go. And then the interviews started. I did probably 7 or 8 interviews either on the phone. I did many on Skype, on video, which then they recorded. I did several with the director before I was actually offered the opportunity to be on the show. For my audition for the show, I had to submit a audition tape, which actually you can see on discoverychannel.ca. So you can see everybody's audition tape. All the competitors have all their videos up. Discovery Channel did that. And it happened to be filmed over Easter weekend. They had notified us on Friday that they needed these 3-minute clips, and they were due on Monday, or on Tuesday, because it was the Easter weekend, and Marine Traders was closed through the weekend. So in my video, I explain, had it not been Easter weekend, I would have made my audition video right here. So I wasn't able to actually use it, but during the show, they did come and film. So I have no doubt that my elk will be in the show. I have no doubt. It wasn't a great sacrifice, but it was a lot harder than I thought it would be. It was difficult to be away from my family, be away from my husband. I know it was really hard on my husband, but we could call. We did have internet access. The first day that I arrived, the executive producers came and visited all the know-it-alls independently before we knew each other, and they made it clear that this was not going to be Gen TV. They didn't have cameras in my hotel room. They didn't have any of that. They weren't following me down to the washroom, like none of that. I was furthest away from home, and so I didn't know what I was getting into, so I brought a first aid kit. I brought a sewing kit. I brought a whole cold pack of cold medicine. I brought a heating pad. I brought all kinds. I brought a little whiteboard. I had no idea what I was going to get into, because we could have been dropped in the middle of nowhere, and then what? People came to me because they knew I had stuff. I didn't take it on set, but I had it in the hotel room, and the other know-it-alls knew I had it. Right. And so, because when we were filming this whole show, we had really odd hours, and so by the time we would get back from the day, everything would be closed. And so we didn't get to the drugstore. We didn't get to anything. So it was a good thing that I did bring it, because we needed it. No control what they're going to focus on. I could be picking my nose in the corner when something else was going on, and they could focus on that. So I just hope, I know that the embarrassment and the humiliation is going to come, because I know I did lots of crazy, embarrassing things and made lots of mistakes. Yeah. I hope that the true passion and my true positive spirit comes out through all of this, despite all of the humiliation. From the other know-it-alls, I'm hearing comments now that, because many of us are still friends, I'm hearing comments now that the relationships that were established on the show are very meaningful now. And so I can't comment on how they think they did, but being that it's 8 or 9 months after the show actually was filmed, and we are still interacting, we're still talking. Some of those people are, I would trust them with my life. Right. Trust them with my family's life. I think that speaks volumes. I'm very pleased at how I did. I'm very proud to be a part of the show. Even if they cast me or they make my character as some crazy blonde, killer, huntress, whatever, I don't really care. I'm really happy with what I did, because I did my best. What else can I do?